Alex here with a legal nuts and bolts video on giving up. A lot of people think that because of the way that my videos come across, giving up is not an option. That's not necessarily true. There are times when the legal system just doesn't have any doorways that are available to you, especially if it's just an ordinary run-of-the-mill case, like for money damages. Oftentimes, there's little you can do once you've lost one of those cases. When you're in a, for example, child custody case, the situation is different. You still are going to have points in time where you just can't do anything about the situation. And if you have already filed papers and the court has denied your request and you have exhausted your appeals, or you have just you've timed out and so now you can't appeal and there's just nothing you can do, you should give up in the temporary sense. This is something that I had to do in my case too a few times. And what I mean by that is you're just going to have to wait until you can show a change of circumstances. There are, and there were times, in fact, it's going to come up in the My Docket series, when there was really nothing that I could do at the point that I was at. You know, my son was suffering abuse and neglect. My ex was, worse than she ever could have been. And I just had to wait until I could go back to court under a change of circumstance, or I could go back to court because she was violating some other court order. In other words, once I had filed my motions and the decision had been made, at that point in time, I was stuck with the court's decision unless I felt like I was going to appeal. And even then, some of my earlier appeals I lost. So, once you've lost the appeal, that's it. There's nothing else that you can do. And so you do sort of have to give up in the temporary sense because you can't do anything else with what you have at that point. Oftentimes, I don't actually think that I do this oftentimes, but I know that a few times I have referred to something as an alternate truth. People hear that phrase alternate truth and it sounds like shady. What they don't understand is that the way the court works isn't so much about exposing lies as it is about accepting the fact that, okay, the court didn't believe this, so what I need to do is try something else. What I mean by an alternate truth isn't a deceptive version of the truth. I just mean you're stuck now until something else happens. And that other thing, when you talk about that, that's your alternate truth. For example, my ex deceived the court into thinking that she was entitled to an order of protection because I was a dangerous person. And I denied it and I testified against it, but the domestic master in the protective order action sided with her and entered a finding of fact that she believed that I said threatening things. At that point in time, there's nothing I can do. The domestic master is going to be entitled to deference on her findings of fact. I can't challenge that on appeal. I can't file an objection and have the district judge review her decision because they're going to say, oh, well, that was a finding of fact, and we're just going to defer to it. And what I mean at that point by alternate truth is, okay, I'm done with this. There's nothing I can do. I have to give up. I've lost on this point. I need to wait for something else to happen and try to proceed on that other thing that has occurred. So for the people out there who are wondering, does Alex give up? Has he given up before and given up? And has he ever given advice about when it's okay to give up? Yes, I mean, I'm doing that right now. I'm being as specific as I can about it. In some of the ordinary types of lawsuits, there's not really any way you can fix something once it's done. Like, you go to small claims, you lose, that's it, it's over. You can file an appeal if you want to, but if that affirms, and that's really it, that you're done. You just can't go back. There are hardly any opportunities to fix those types of situations, those types of cases. Fraud upon the court is one example, but definitely watch that video because many people think that fraud upon the court is just lying to the court. It's not. It's a whole lot more strictly defined than that. In child custody actions, you're going to have a whole lot of opportunities to come back, but you are going to have to give up, at least in the sense that there's nothing you can do with what you have, at the time that you're at right now, but keep an eye open for another opportunity because that's just the reality of the court system. You don't necessarily have to give up and walk away from your children and just say, that's it, I don't care anymore. But there will be times when you're just stuck and you just can't do anything with what you have at the moment. And in my case, what comes to mind is the dental neglect. There were a few years where I just couldn't do anything. Custody was what custody was, and I was just stuck with it. And then the dental neglect started to occur, and he needed 5 crowns to extractions. And so I was able to go back to court on that new thing, on that alternate truth. So I hope this kind of balls together a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about when it comes to when to stop and when to take action and when to hold off and when to gather evidence. And I hope that this video is both inspiring to some of the people who have given up, who are worried that there may not be any hope for them. There may be hope in your child custody action in particular. You may be able to argue a change of circumstances somewhere down the line. And I hope for some other people this gives them the peace to realize that there may not be anything they can do anymore. They may have already taken all the action that they could. They may have already filed whatever appeal or writ review. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, watch my video, writ petitions. And for those of you who are in that position, it's okay to give up. When you have nothing that you can do, when the court system has effectively blocked you, then you do have to sort of stop, and there may not be an opportunity. That may just be your situation going forward, and you're just stuck with it. And don't expend any more of your energy on it. Once you've filed what you could file, and you've had your your motions considered or your pleadings considered, and you've lost, and once you're done, you're just done, and just accept it, because the chance of changing anything in the court system is strictly defined according to the precedent that the appellate courts have established and according to the court rules and the statutes. And you really do have to look to those avenues to resolve your situation. And sometimes there aren't any legal avenues. This video is kind of the opposite of the video attack, attack, attack. In that video, I deal with the concern that people have on what do they do when they have multiple bases, to seek relief on. And a lot of people think they should do one at a time. And in that video, I tell them, no, if you have multiple different things that you can seek relief on all of them at the same time. Just go. But this video is the opposite of that video. This is the video for people who, they just don't have any road to victory. There's no path. I mean, they've tried and that's it. It's done. It's over. And for those people, you should not just file frivolous documents, because it's just going to backfire on you. You're going to get sanctioned. You're going to get fined. Worse yet, you could be declared a vexatious litigant. So, as I've said in the video, attack, 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 if there is something that you're going to file and it has merit, file it. But if there is nothing that you can file, at least, excluding the meritless or the frivolous filings, if there's nothing meritorious available for you to file, if you're just at the end of the road, then you should give up. You should stop, because you're just going to make your situation worse. But like I said, there's some people here who are in situations that are going to last for years, and if you have to stop and give up for now, things may change in the future. New circumstances may arise, and you may have an opportunity again, just like I did in my case. The reason it took me 8 years is because there were a whole lot of periods of time in my case where I couldn't do anything. And as soon as I had the opportunity, I took action. So I hope this video helps people sort of balance the idea of aggressively litigating for whatever it is you're seeking, whether it's just money or whether it's custody of your children, and at the same time understand when to hold off and when to wait. Don't make your situation worse when there is just nothing you can do under the law. So if anyone has any more specific questions about this video, definitely post something down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.